Hello, my name is Laura Baldwin. I'm an Olympic sailor and 2 times Olympic sailing coach. This is a talk that I gave at the British Association for Sustainable Sport conference in Cardiff in May this year, 2022, and I thought I would share it for you. So I start off by saying that I have no super glue, don't worry. I'm not planning to glue myself to anything here today, but I do hope that some of what I say sticks and sparks action within you. I was an unlikely Olympian. The first team I was ever in was the Olympic team. I achieved the seemingly impossible. And at my peak, I was ranked #2 in the world. The Olympic flame is so symbolic of that burning desire to achieve a goal. I've lived my life by the motto that if you can believe it, you can achieve it. Or if you fail, that success is a journey, not a destination. Now, there's never been a more important time in history to believe that change is possible. My bubble of contentment burst in January 2019 when I learned that the planet is in a state of climate and ecological emergency. From that moment, I focused nearly entirely on learning everything that I can about the problems and solutions and acting on my knowledge. The fire of desire relit inside me. I had a new goal: defending life on Earth. It should be easy enough, right? Well, the motivational speaker did say to set big, scary goals. He said, if your goals don't scare you, they're not ambitious enough. My initial reaction to learning that the planet is on the brink of catastrophic runaway climate change was first to panic, to freak out. Then I channeled that energy into action. I first made all the eco swaps myself, switching out all the single-use plastics, transitioning to a vegan diet, localizing my life. Then I turned my attention to help my community, to decarbonize and to restore nature, planting thousands of trees, growing food, having clothes swaps, learning to make do, amend, borrow, and lend. But the more I learned about the problems, the more I realized that this alone was not enough. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, the spokesperson for the world, has been getting more and more desperate in his communication. In his latest speech on the 5th of April this year, he called global leaders out as lying, dangerous radicals, setting fire to our only home. As he says in the quote on my screen, these school children have grasped something that seems to elude many of their elders. We are in the race for our lives, and we are losing. But it is a race that we can still win. Athletes are increasingly concerned about climate change, feeling conflicted that the path they've chosen as elite athletes traveling regularly is contributing to climate breakdown. More frequently, the effects of climate change are impacting athletes directly. From air pollution to heat stroke, pandemics, diminishing ice and snow, severe weather events destroying sporting infrastructure, sports halls turned over to cooling centres during unprecedented heat waves, and so on. We've just witnessed a Winter Olympics with no snow, a Summer Olympics plagued by a global pandemic and excessive heat. Billions of people around the world right now are starving, suffering water scarcity, being forced from their homes by fires and floods, lives torn apart, and living in conflict zones. Half the children of the world are already living in areas of extremely high risk of climate impacts. Crisis is happening now. Okay, enough already. We get that we gotta act now on climate change. Well, yes, because it is the one competitor that we won't be able to outcompete. Seriously though, stop banging on about the problems and stop focusing on the solutions. Sure, I mean, it makes me feel a hell of a lot more positive when I focus on what we can do. As Nelson Mandela so famously said, sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite. Athletes are brilliant at setting goals, at being really resilient, really ambitious, setting out how to achieve and how to overcome challenges. Athletes are some of the most influential people in the world. They can enable change for good. So at Champions for Earth, of which I'm one of the 4 core members, we're educating, mentoring, and offering emotional support to athletes, past and present, forming a network to inspire each other, to collaborate on projects, empower each other to use our platforms, to educate and inspire others to take action for climate and nature. Arming athletes with a solid defense statement to break through these paralyzing accusations of hypocrisy. We need to be brave. We need to and can channel the energy of athletes who push beyond perceived limits, rising up to challenges that may seem insurmountable. We need to commit, being resolute in the pursuit of our goals to the best steps to achieve them. Just as in any successful team, we need to turn our gaze repeatedly to what we are trying to achieve and what the next steps are to make that happen. Happy, smiley children having fun. How it should be, right? The kids today have the weight of the survival of Earth on their shoulders. What is scaring our kids more than the science is witnessing the inaction of adults, of people in power. The media spinning webs and lies, causing confusion and denial, when news of life on Earth being on track to be unlivable is confined to 1 square inch buried deep or not reported on at all, we know that we are being utterly failed. A poll last year revealed that 75% of youth are frightened for their future, and 56% think that humanity is doomed. Sport can help lift the burden on the young people, on all people. Sport can provide purpose, connect communities, bridge societal divides, create happy, healthy, fulfilling lives. This is a photo of my son and our dog. My love for him is so strong that I would do anything to protect him. I would run out in front of an oil tanker to try to save his life. I'm driven by the thought of one day having to look him in the eyes and tell him what I did whilst there still was time to act. I need to be clear of conscience in that moment, able to tell him that I did everything I could think of. I refuse to bequeath a dying planet to my son. A growing number of athletes are using their platforms on social media for climate and social issues. Top left and right are images of me competing in national championships last summer, with messages across the hull of the boats, and I used interviews I gave to communicate about the dire state of our big blue warming, acidifying, polluting waters, and called upon the competitors to be custodians for our oceans. Top centre is possibly the biggest single impact that I have had. Along with the London 2012 Olympic gold medalist in canoe slalom Etienne Stott, pictured bottom right, and some other brave people, we blocked Forley oil refinery, calling for no new investment in fossil fuel infrastructure 3 days before COP26 started. This act made every national and local media. It was on the BBC World News homepage, the leading story all day. Etienne and I did interviews for 12 solid hours, literally back to back and overlapping. It was nerve-wracking. I knew I risked arrest, but I feel like it's the morally right thing to do. And we were not arrested. In fact, Hampshire police attending that day expressed their support and gratitude. Climate, social and racial issues are intrinsically interlinked and must be addressed with focus on equality to address the climate crisis. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. You may have seen Sebastian Vettel at the weekend being accused of hypocrisy as he spoke about the need to act on climate change. He voiced the inner conflict he's facing between what he understands needs to happen and what he's doing. There was raw power in his bravery and honesty. I admire him. I do believe that sport has the power to change the world. At this most critical time in the history of humanity, if this power can be realized, if sport can be brave and bold enough to lead humanity by example along a path to a truly sustainable existence and balance with nature, the Time for incremental step changes has long passed. Only immediate and substantial emissions reductions can suffice now. The changes we need to make shouldn't be feared. Making the necessary changes could be the best chapter in humanity yet. It could be beautiful, rewarding, and will most certainly improve the living conditions for the majority. We need to help ourselves to feel happy, because happiness enables us to access parts of the brain that solve complex problems and imagines great ideas. We need to be creative, and creativity gets switched off by stress and it gets blocked by being busy all the time. So we need to give ourselves time to daydream, to come up with our greatest ideas yet. Each of you here has huge opportunity to think up and make happen the changes we need to make to safeguard the living conditions for life on Earth. If not you, who? If not now, well, it has to be now. So get excited, get imagining, because it's time to dream, believe, and achieve. Thank you.